I am here with director and producer Olivia Lichtenstein and Nick Bedu talking about the closing night film at the 27th Annual Philadelphia Film Festival, a documentary detailing the extraordinary life and career of Philly's own Teddy Pendergrass, and especially to have the premiere here in Philadelphia, where Teddy Pendergrass was born and raised. So I wanted you to talk a little bit about what it means to show it in his hometown, and where Gamble Huff's Philadelphia sound came from, and sort of how long you were here in Philly, and any special places that you really like, especially foodie places, because this is Tinsel and Tine, and we do like to talk about food as well.
Good. Well, I mean, it's just wonderful that we're going to be having the premiere here in Philadelphia, because this is obviously a film about Teddy Pendergrass, but one of the characters of the film is also Philadelphia, and so it just feels entirely fitting that it should be here. And we have spent a lot of time here, actually, over the last probably 2 years, I would say, and made very frequent visits and have got to know the place pretty well. And when we had the idea to do this, it sort of seemed extraordinary that nobody had made a long documentary about Teddy Pendergrass, because of his, extraordinary story, really, and also his immense talent. And so when we approached his widow, Joan Pendergrass, and said we wanted to do it, she was very supportive of it. And then we got to know his mother and his children and all the people that he had worked with, and began to sort of build up a picture of this very complicated man with a complicated life.
Philadelphia's become a bit of a second home to us, so it's been fantastic to meet so many characters who are integral to its musical heritage, really.
Yeah.
And we have had Philly cheesesteaks as well.
Good. All right. Where did you go?
Well,
The eternal question. I mean, we should have made a film about cheesesteaks.
Yes. That'll be the next one.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion about it, and in the end we went to Teddy's favourite Philly cheesesteak place, which was D'Alessandro's.
Yeah.
My old neighborhood. I lived in Mount Airy area for 14 years, but I'm in West Philly now. But D'Alessandro's is a good choice.
May I just list the first 4 songs in the album? Come Go With Me, Close the Door, Turn Off the Lights, Do Me. Have I got it? You got it.
Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed.
Some leads, but the big hits belong to Teddy.
I couldn't piece together it wasn't Harold Melvin singing those songs, that it was Teddy Pendergrass.
This was a man whose music is known throughout the world, and who was a very complex man, but a brilliant man and such a fantastic talent, and the people around him, getting to know them and spend time with them and hear the stories, intimate anecdotes, is just something you dream of doing. It's a dream project, to be honest.
So let's go back to the beginning. I understand you were watching the doc Supermensch about his manager, Teddy Pendergrass' manager, Shep Gordon, which was, of course, produced by Mike Myers. I saw it. I love that documentary. It's one of my favorites, and I think we all fall a little bit in love with Shep Gordon by the end of it. But you said that you were able to just call him up. So would you elaborate on that relationship and a little bit about your background?
Well, I always say that I'm first and foremost a storyteller, and so I'll use kind of whatever form is best for the particular story. So most of my career has been spent making documentaries, but I've also directed drama and written novels. So it's always about finding the story and telling the story. And so when I saw a little piece in that documentary about Shep, which talked about Teddy, I realized that I wasn't as familiar with Teddy's story as I kind of thought I was, because I'd always very much enjoyed his music when I was growing up. And so I kind of hunted Shep down and found him, and spoke to him and said, I'd really like to make this film. And so he then, introduced me to various people, and I then met Joan, Teddy's widow. And so then, we started sort of making all the connections and seeing what was possible, and then went on from there.
I also, though, remember during Supermensch that Shep Gordon talked about a night that Teddy Pendergrass didn't want to go on stage, that he just was in a mood, and he tried to get the singer not to be selfish. He said, you know, people got babysitters, they may be celebrating special occasions, and he actually didn't go on, and it was, I think, less than a week later he had the accident, and Shep kind of talks a little bit about karma, but I'm wondering, does the documentary show this side of Teddy Pendergrass as well, like someone who may have gotten a bit of a swelled head at the height of his fame?
I don't know if that was true, because I think when I investigated that further, actually, I think what really had happened was that Teddy was not very well that night. So I think it was a bit more complicated. So, you know, I think what happens when you're making a film, obviously, is that you have to really research things very carefully and see whether, you know, what holds up and, you know, all the rest of it. So I think in the end I felt, well, I wasn't really sure what had happened there, so we didn't kind of go into that.
Really?
You know, and I think as far as, I don't know, I mean, I think in the end it's still a bit of an enigma what happened, because, you know, he says that there were no brakes on the car and that was why the accident occurred, and then there's always so much rumour, I think, surrounding people who are in public life, and it's very difficult sometimes to find where the exact truth lies.
Yeah, but the film does definitely explore Teddy and his layers, and is not afraid to do so. And you know, we are filmmakers who are serious about the profession of documentary as well. And certainly, you know, he was a complex man, and I think those sides are explored and looked at in depth. You know.
It seemed like Tanika Watson, right? That part was kind of pushed aside. Was that a big scandal at that time? And how much do you go into that?
Yes, it was a big scandal at the time, but I mean, I think the point about that was that, you know, Tanika was a woman. You know, she had had her gender confirmation surgery by the time that she met Teddy, and so I think sometimes there's always a bit of sort of confusion between the terms, you know,
transgender and transvestite, huh? Yeah.
And so, but, you know, the time that the accident occurred, which was 1982, it was still sufficiently unusual for people to be quite shocked by it.
And I was wondering, were there any obstacles to getting the rights to any of his solo and the Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes type music?
No, it's just you know, it's just a lengthy and laborious process, but there are no obstacles, no, because, you know, I think everyone was so cooperative, so yeah. People
were very supportive of it and wanted the music to come alive again, you know, and that was an important, I think, kind of factor behind that.
The thing is, when you're dealing with a single artist, you have the whole body of their work, and actually there's a process during the edit where songs come in and they go out, and it's what they're doing in the film and what they're saying. And so, you know, I listened to all of the music, and so did my editor, and so we chose what was going to go where, really. We were very struck by his talent, his intelligence.
It's almost as if he could have been anyone. You know, you meet great people in your life, and as filmmakers and documentarians, you meet great people. And he obviously just had such a charisma and stature. You can imagine him being, you know, a politician at the top of his game, or just whatever it was. He was going to be great, wasn't he? And that's what really struck me about him.
And his effect on people, there was one thing which was quite funny, which was when the head of BBC Films came in to see just a couple of sequences quite early on in the process. And, you know, this is a very experienced woman who's running a major kind of film company, really. And she just was quite overcome. She was like, ooh! Fangirling. And, you know, sort of, oh my goodness, I don't know what's happening to me. So that was the Teddy effect, I think.
What else would you like Tinsel and Tine's audience to know about the film?
Well, I think we'd like to thank everybody
Yes.
who spoke to us and who has taken part in the film. And and Philadelphia, really, and say how wonderful it is that it's having its first outing here.
Absolutely. Philadelphia's become a bit of a second home to us, so it's been fantastic to meet so many characters who were integral to the musical heritage, really.
Share